Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank you for coming. It's with heavy hearts at times that we remember what happened on September the 11th. And at one time, we even thought about canceling this breakfast. But in honor of our world trade, our commerce, we thought that it would be a tribute to all of our businesses, to our educational system, that we would make this work. So we say thanks to all those who participate in business and industry and make our job shadowing program possible. And in our district, there are many people who make this program possible, as well as working with the Chamber of Commerce and various other people on our committee. And to those people, I would like to say thanks. The specific people who worked on the committee from the district include Julie Langolf from Women's Life, Deb Seaford, Mercy Hospital, Diane Drabant, Port Huron Hospital, Jean Downing from the United Way, Jerry Hart, Counselor, Port Huron High School, Keith Bricker, Counselor, Port Huron Northern, and Al Gable. And I'd like to say a special word to Al. Under the duress that we have, since many of us in the district wear many different hats, there was a lot going on in the district behind the scenes to make sure that everything was safe and that we would be able to continue school. And under Mr. Kimball's leadership, Mr. Sharon's leadership, Mr. Miller's leadership, many of us were diverted to other tasks. And so we say thanks to all of those people. Also, we would be honored to mention our Career Resource Room people who labor throughout the year. And they are Debbie Marks and Jan Bonadillo from Northern, Jan Smith and Doris Stein from Port Huron High School. And then we had some other people behind the scenes who need to be mentioned. Dave Bullskull from Northern and Larry Delecta from Port Huron High School, whose marketing students were involved in distributing the carnations. Also to Brian Witt from Allenbrooks, who has been a strong supporter of our program and helped us with the flowers, and has also had many students involved in job shadowing. Ed Senek and E.J. Shea from Channel 6 have been with us for several years now, and we surely appreciate their involvement because they have to get up early and change their schedules in order to do the TV production. And my new secretary, Jennifer Sass, has learned a lot in a very short period of time, and under some very tribulating times as well. There are three people who are unable to be with us today. That would be Joanne Monahan and Ron Wallin, but they asked me to mention that they support the program. They're involved in a principals meeting for the MAC League. And Tom Rodenbaugh, whose parents were in a very serious car crash last week, and Tom was an integral part of this program, and we had to certainly work around that. So we would ask that you remember Tom Rodenbaugh in his personal situation at this time. We'd like to start now with our speakers. Mr. Jim Sharon, President of the Port Huron Area School District Board of Education. Mr. Sharon, please.
Thank you, Mr. Beeden, and to all of you on our staff at the Port Huron Area School District that are involved with implementing this program on a year-to-year basis. I thank you for all your efforts throughout the year. As I went down this list this morning, I was looking at all the different and diverse companies that are involved in this program, and I think all of you can share one particular thought with me today. For all the things that we've gone through in the past 6, almost 7 days now, and within a few hours, an entire week, there can't be a more honorable job in our nation right now that has come to the forefront than that of our fire departments. And is there someone here this morning that's from the Port Huron Fire Department? No, I see them on the list though. I don't know if you've thought the same things that I have over the last few days. boy, if you want to be in an honorable profession, that is certainly one of them. And I thought, gosh, wouldn't it be neat to be a fireman? Well, I can tell you, my profession is a stockbroker, and don't mean to make light of it, but yesterday I felt like I was a fireman putting out economic fires. So all of us kind of change hats and uniforms from time to time in our life, but it's been a tough 24 hours for all of us in the financial district, but I ask for all your prayers, especially for those that work down in the New York area. All the different thoughts that we have going through our minds, it's hard to get back to some normalcy, but we've really tried to do that in the Port Huron Area School District, and I praise Mr. Beeden and his staff for continuing with this program. I think it's important for all of us as adults, and especially for the students in our district, to get back to some normal activities. And yet, all of us have these images in our mind. Most of the images are tragedy. And yet, there's one image over the past week or so that I want to bring to you that I think correlates with what the job shadowing program is all about. All of the work that they were doing, especially in New York, to try to save some people. You know, they had all these great cranes, and they have these bulldozers and what have you. But if all of you remember the one image where they had this line of tens, if not hundreds of firemen, one after one, taking one bucket at a time out of there to try to make a difference in someone's life. They weren't using the bulldozers. When they really wanted to make an impact, they were doing it one bucket at a time, hand by hand. And in reality, that's what education is all about. We don't do it in big heaps. We do it bucket by bucket. But we're not taking away, we're giving. We give one bucket of art, we give one bucket of English, we give a bucket of math, and bucket by bucket, our kids start to get some impact on their educational status. And one of the buckets is the School to Work, the job shadowing program. And we never really know what really is that one spark for our students to really excel them into the educational and eventually the profession that they want to be involved in. But it's very important that you give the students as much as possible to expose them to many, many different areas. And that's why this particular program, the School to Work transition program, particularly the job shadowing that we allow our students, that's just one bucket, but it may make a difference. And you, as the employers, make a difference by exposing our students in the Port Huron Area School District to many, many different opportunities. And I might say there's a lot of students that will come through our jobs as they have at First of Michigan that may never be a stockbroker or a financial planner or what have you, but the impact that they've been able to come away from those particular experiences are very important. So I leave you with that one illustration of why it's so important that as we look through the tragedy, we were trying to solve problems one little bucket at a time. And the job shadowing program certainly is a bucket that we're giving a part of the knowledge back to these students that someday will make them a better educated person and ultimately a better employer for all of us. So I thank you for your efforts over the years, and thank you for continuing with this program. It's very important to us at the school district. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. It's always wonderful to have the support of your school board president, and other board members are very supportive of this program as well. At this point in time, I'd like to introduce to you Lisa Hatch. Lisa, would you come up, please? For many years, we've worked with the Chamber of Commerce, and we are really a child of the Chamber of Commerce, and many of you will remember Mike Benedict. Lisa is the new executive director for the Greater Port Huron Chamber of Commerce. And Lisa, we welcome you.
Thank you, Bob. Welcome, everyone. And this is my first time being here, and it's a pleasure to be here this morning. I know that the Chamber of Commerce and the schools have a very long history of working together and making those very important partnerships between business and education. I have always said that every student, every child needs to have both. The education is so important, but to have that work experience behind them too when they leave their high school really helps them out in the long run. I want to thank all of you for participating in this invaluable program and hope that you continue, and thank you for being here this morning.
One of the real tributes to this program, I think, is the students, and that's why we want to focus on the students this morning. And in your agenda, you note that we have several students speaking, as well as parents, and also a teacher who has been participating in our Business Industry Teacher Exchange program, which is in its infancy, but we will be emphasizing more and more this year. So at this time, I would like to introduce Brad Foltz, who will give us a little testimony on his experiences in regards to job shadowing. Brad?
The first experience I had with the job shadowing program, I went to a computer store called Microtech. And I've always had an interest in computers and felt that it would be interesting. At Microtech, they sell, repair, and program computers. I was very excited to arrive at their business and learn what they did. The men welcomed me and explained the type of coursework that was needed, and they showed me some of the types of repairs they do and explained about programming. I asked questions about the work and schooling and found them very helpful. It was definitely an interesting day. The following year, I wanted to see what a job in law enforcement would be like, because my dad is in law enforcement. So Mrs. Smith set me up with the sheriff's department. The whole day was exciting. We got to make traffic stops, and we responded to a burglar alarm, which was really exciting, even though it was a repairman who set it off. Of course, there's a lot of paperwork to fill out in this job. It was exciting to job shadow the officer. That experience is what really made me think about law enforcement, and that's what I have my eyes on to do the rest of my life. I made my choice with the help of the School of the Work program. It helped me to see what it is like to be a police officer and how they spend a typical day. I have focused on the profession because every day would be different from the last, and you just never know what each call will bring. Law enforcement, to me, is a very exciting career. I thank Mrs. Smith and the school district for giving me and other students the opportunity to job shadow. It's a valuable program to students trying to make a career decision. I have encouraged many students to participate in this program because I think it is great. Thank you.
And now Jason Hendrickson. Jason?
Okay, do you all have your imagination caps on? All right, so imagine yourself sitting in the lobby of the company that you're job shadowing at. When the door opens and this big burly guy walks out, is 6 foot tall, has a cigar in his mouth, and looks like Sasquatch, because he hasn't shaved in a couple days. He has carpets on his arms. Well, this really didn't happen to me, but, you know, it may have happened to someone else. So, when I went to my job shadowing experience, I went to Wirtz Manufacturing. I job shadowed there because of the mechanical engineering field, which is a possible career I'd like to go into. My experience was good because I learned a lot about the engineering field, but it also gave me a chance to see if I wanted to go into the field. I think that the School of the Work program is very beneficial because it gives you a chance to see what you want to go into, or if you really like the job, or if you don't like the job. So when I first heard about the job shadowing experience, I was like, yeah, it's just a way to get out of school for a couple hours. But then I figured out that it's not really a way to get out of school a couple hours. It's a way to figure out if you want to go into that career or not. So I just want to say that the job shadowing program is very good, and I just want to thank Mrs. Smith for the experience.
Next is Joe Marcero.
My pile of chili cheese fries had just arrived when I heard the call on the radio. A woman's heart had stopped, and she was no longer breathing. The paramedics and myself raced to the ambulance and rushed to the scene, dodging heavy traffic. Upon arrival, the patient was quickly intubated and defibrillated a number of times. Despite all efforts, the patient passed away. To some, experiencing something similar to this would be heart-wrenching. For me, it was yet another learning experience. Besides this, it was a clear indication that a career in the medical field was something I hoped to pursue. I experienced this situation as part of the job shadowing opportunity I was involved in last year. Good morning to all of you. I am Joe Marcero, a junior from Port Huron Northern High School. On behalf of all students participating in job shadowing, I would like to extend my sincere appreciation to each of you for the continual support that you have provided to the many teens like myself. It is all of you who are playing a large role in forming the future for the teens of today. Job shadowing helps many students make decisions about their future. For me, it has confirmed my plan to go into emergency medicine. I plan on becoming a paramedic as well as a trauma flight nurse. For some people, job shadowing works in the opposite direction. It is a clear indication of a field that they no longer wish to pursue. In our years of high school, many teens are unaware of what their futures hold. Indecisiveness, questions, and fears are among the concerns we have. Job shadowing helps to alleviate some of these and makes students aware of the endless possibilities awaiting for them. Job shadowing has proven, not only for myself, but for many others, to be incredibly beneficial. As a volunteer at Port Huron Emergency Center, I have logged close to 500 hours. In that time, I've seen a variety of things, ranging from colds and sprained ankles to strokes, heart attacks, stabbings, burns, and motor vehicle accidents. This volunteerism, combined with my job shadowing experience, have proven that I have a love for emergency medicine. Many of you may not realize how important your services are to young people. These shadowing experiences are helping. They are helping us to plan for our future. You are allowing us to explore our dreams. You have brought me one step closer to succeeding in life. I hope you continue to allow students to shadow in the future. Thank you for all you've done and continue to do.
And now Rebecca Seaton.
Hi, my name's Rebecca, and I'm a senior at Port Huron Northern, and when I grow up, I want to be Indiana Jones. For a long time, I wanted to do something in biological science, and so for my first job shadowing, I went to Mercy Hospital's lab. I was shown tests for everything from cancer to anemia, and while it was fascinating to learn how these things were done, I realized it wasn't something that I really wanted to do for the rest of my life. My sophomore year, I was also taking Advanced Placement U.S. History. I loved this class, so I decided to shadow someone in the history profession. F. Scott Fernandez works at SC4, and I sat in on some of his classes and looked over the coursework. I learned what it would be like to be a professor, and this was something that I could really do for the rest of my life. I would like to end up an archaeology professor, teaching and going on digs. This is close enough to Indiana Jones for real life, and I'll avoid the runaway boulders if I can help it. Job shadowing played an important role in my decision. If I hadn't gone to look at the lab, I probably wouldn't have changed my mind until my second year of college, which is not really the place you want to be indecisive. And so job shadowing helped me see the profession and make an informed judgment. Thank you.
Christina Aguilar will not be with us today, and so we'll move on to Chris Hendrickson, who is going to be our parent speaker. Chris? And thank you again, Chris, for leading the Star-Spangled Banner.
Good morning. Thank you for allowing me the privilege of speaking with you this morning and coming to you as a parent who has a student involved with the shadowing program. My son Jason is a senior at Port Huron High School, and he is planning on a career as a chemical engineer and will be attending Central Michigan in the fall of 2002. For several years, he has been interested in engineering, but wasn't really sure where he wanted to go with his interest. To tell you a little bit about my involvement as a parent with the job shadowing process, I suppose it would be helpful to tell you where I come from in this area. In '98, I started working at Port Huron High School in the counseling department, and one of my responsibilities was to call parents and get their permission for their students to get involved with the job shadowing program. And of course, during these phone calls, there were a lot of questions regarding the process and what job shadowing was all about. The students would receive a form in their classrooms, all the sophomores would, and they would indicate their interests, and then these in turn would go back to Mrs. Smith, and she would set up the programs for the kids that call the workplaces and set up the programs for the kids to go shadow at. Jason had indicated an interest in mechanical engineering as well as chemical engineering. And his first job shadowing experience was at Wirtz Manufacturing, and he came back with a lot of questions of his own, as well as the knowledge, which was good, that mechanical engineering was an area that he was interested in. His experience while at Wirtz gave him a good feel for mechanical engineer. However, in his junior year of high school as an AP chemistry student, his chemistry teacher instilled his love for chemistry in Jason. But through the opportunities presented in education and through the job shadowing experiences that are offered to our children, they are able to leave their high school with goals, dreams, and a good idea of where they want to go and what they want to do when they graduate. Thank you to Wirtz for allowing my child to shadow with you, and also to Port Huron High, first for offering the School to Work program, and second for encouraging students to build and then to follow their dreams.
Pam DeKay will now speak as a parent from Port Huron Northern. Pam?
Good morning. When Keith Bricker called and said, "I have a deal you can't turn down," I knew I was going to be involved in something. But I'm really happy to be here today to share our experience with the School to Work program. After Debbie, my daughter, who is a junior at Northern, had her interview with Keith Bricker, and they came up with a few job choices for her. Her first choice was dentistry. So they scheduled a time for her to spend with Dr. Baraboo, a children's specialist. Two positives resulted from that. The first one was she knew thought she would like being a dentist. The second was she knew she couldn't spend all day with children. Then during her own routine appointment with Dr. Bola, she asked if she could shadow him. So she did spend some time with him, and afterward knew she still liked the work, and knew then for sure she liked being with the varied ages of patients. But still at this point, she wasn't sure that this was the right choice for her. So we were scheduled to spend a day at the University of Detroit Mercy Dental School. Debbie and I spent the morning with Jason, who was a senior dental student, and we toured the building, which is, by the way, state-of-the-art after their renovation a couple of years ago, and also their dental clinic. Jason did an excellent job showing us the procedures that they spent. Also pointed out to us there were older students in the dental clinic, and telling Debbie that these were, at the time, practicing dentists, but were there to specialize. So also, the University of Detroit last year started a 6-year program for dentists, which very much appealed to Debbie, because she is planning on specializing in orthodontist. Jason also asked Debbie if she wanted to spend the afternoon with him assisting patients. She did this, and also at the same time got to talk to other students, many who were previous Northern students. And that was fun for her, and they had some commonality there. Debbie's career doubts, as I talked with her later, came from the fact, and still are from the fact, that she knows she wants to do something in church work. But as of our conversation last week, and I'm sure she's talked with many of the counselors at Northern, she's realizing that she can probably combine the two. So she also knows that she needs a job that has immediate results. I've been trying to convince her to become a female physician, which we need more of. But she said, no, I know I need to see results right away. And she also knows at this point that she wants to continue job shadowing, and her next choice is going to be Dr. Wilkins. As a result of this School to Work program, I see Debbie evaluating herself, taking initiative to do job shadowing, and in choosing a career, really giving some thought to this as to a career that will make her happy. And I do believe that the job shadowing program has played a large part in this, because she started this as a freshman. She didn't wait very long to get involved in it, and I do believe that this is one thing that has really gotten her on the ball with this program. And I'm so grateful to all of you and to the counselors and the teachers at school, everyone who's involved with this program. And I say a big thank you.
One of the reasons for having students and parents speak and give their testimony is to cement into place the Trinity, as we refer to it, where the student, the parent, and the counselor are sitting down, working collectively for that child to map out a career pathway for them. And that's so critical. Last year we sent out something like 6,000 career pathway pamphlets around the community and to staff. But that's really what makes it work, is this coming together. And unfortunately, we have some work to do, so there is a challenge for us here today. Those students who don't have parents are the toughest ones to get, and yet they're bright as well. And those are the ones where we need to be challenged to work harder, because they don't always have the support at home that we need. And so therefore, we reach out to those students, and we'll continue to develop that part of our program, because they're the toughest ones to get, and those that are the counselors in particular that have to deal with those students know that there's a rich, rich resource there that we need to tap. Now, we go on to our next part of our program. As I mentioned before, the Business Industry Teacher Exchange. The acronym is BITE, and we've considered changing that, but because people remember it so well, we've decided to stay with it. And at this time, I'd like to have Nancy Huff, a faculty chemistry teacher, come up and share with us her experiences. Nancy, please.
Good morning. Al Gable didn't quite tell me I would be speaking about BITE this morning, so I find that kind of interesting. As I mentioned, or as Bob mentioned, I'm a chemistry teacher in the Port Huron Area School District. And I had the opportunity last year to travel with Al and a colleague of mine from Port Huron High School to Atchison. When we got to Atchison, we spent a little bit of time meeting with the people from the corporation, but a big chunk of our day was spent in the laboratory getting a chance to talk to the chemists and the technicians that were there. We got to see the projects that they work on and some of the types of things that our students would do when they went there to Atchison. When I left that day, I really left with the impression that any student of mine that had the opportunity to go there was really getting a valuable learning experience. There were so many opportunities there for the student on the job that I just couldn't do in the regular classroom. The face of education has changed so much in the last decade, and it will continue to do so. And for students to get these opportunities to go out into the workplace and do this hands-on type of learning, it's just critical. We are so very thankful that there are so many of you in business that are willing to take these students in and share your experiences with them. And I know that myself as an educator, I was very happy to be able to go and see exactly what goes on there and what benefits my students get from that. Thank you.
School to Work Transition is a portion of a program that we have merged with Career Prep. I draw your attention to the slide over here that indicates that it is funded by Career Prep. As you know, it is a grant that the district chose to write, and when you write the grant, why there are certain requirements that we have to make sure that we are adhering to. But this is also a slide that is shown at Craft 8 Theater. I jokingly say it's between the Harrison Fords and the various other actors that are up there, but we do have this as part of the previews of upcoming movies as a way of continuing to remind students and parents that this is a cool thing to do. So at this point in time, I would like to have Joanne Duesenberg. Would you say that for me, please?
Van Denneville.
Van Denneville. I apologize for that. She's a decorating consultant from Carpet and Blinds. Joan?
The hardest part of me is getting past my name. I'm Joanne Van Denneville from Carpet and Blinds, and I appreciate this opportunity of participating as a mentor in the School to Work program for the last several years. I've had a delightful time working with the young ladies and encouraging them as they have expressed an interest in the interior decorating and design field. When the young ladies arrive at Carpet and Blinds, we take a few minutes to get acquainted, go over their paperwork, ask and answer a few questions. Some of the young ladies are only exploring this field, and others have already made definite plans to pursue this as a profession. As preparation for this field, I encourage them to take classes in basic math, speech, bookkeeping, and architectural drafting. I also impress upon them the necessity of good verbal and people skills, because without these, no matter how good a presentation you put together, it may not succeed. I also suggest that they learn to sew and take part-time positions with people in trades who will eventually become their support staff, so they can learn what is involved in this aspect of the field also. We discussed the necessity of developing a good support staff to install the products that are sold. I usually have a folder prepared containing product brochures, work orders, and a few other items. We take a look at the products in the store and discuss their functions, how they're measured, their applications. If I have a window fashion in progress, we spend a few minutes in the workroom as I discuss basic fabrication skills. The most frequently asked questions I get is, how do you remember all this stuff? I answer, I don't, but I know where and how to find the answers. If my employer, David Muehlman, is in the store, he spends a few minutes with the young ladies and encourages them to do their best in school and to remain focused on their goal. It's been a privilege to participate in this program, and I sincerely hope that I have been an encouragement to the young ladies that I have met. Thank you.
Mr. Kimball, our superintendent, who is extremely supportive of this program, is unable to be with us today, but Mr. Tom Miller, assistant superintendent, will speak in his behalf. Tom?
Good morning. On behalf of Mr. Kimball, who, as many of you know, is chair of the United Way and is at another meeting right now, he wanted me and wished me to thank all of you for everything that you do for our kids. I'm lucky because I have a daughter who was able to participate in this program. She went to numerous job shadowing sites and decided none of those were the careers that she really wanted to do. But as she moved on into college, she made a big difference with regards to the choices she's making today as she begins her sophomore year at Saginaw Valley. Up to 1995, there was a component missing in education, and that was the true-to-life experiences and opportunities for kids. If there were opportunities, they found them on their own, and sometimes they weren't always very positive. Since 1995, over 3,500 kids have had an opportunity to experience careers that they thought they may have liked, or careers that their parents thought they may have liked, or careers that their boyfriends or girlfriends thought that they would like for each other. but they had an opportunity to go out there and actually live it. Without your support, without your opportunities, our kids wouldn't have that opportunity to do that. Many times we hear today that, oh, the kids just need to know basics, get them in the classroom and get them back out. That's not true anymore. Kids need to not only understand what's going on in the classroom, but they need to know how to integrate that with what's going on in the real world. And the true-to-life experiences are offered by you. Mr. Kimball, myself, I know Mr. Sharon and the Board of Education and all staff in our Port Huron Area School District appreciate what you do for our kids. We hope that this program continues to grow, and my goal in my role today would be hopefully that this will become a prerequisite for graduation so all kids would have an opportunity to experience this. So again, on behalf of Mr. Kimball and the Board of Education and all our staffs, I'd like to thank our staffs, all of you that are here and those that were unable to be here, for everything you do for our kids, and especially the employers in town. Thank you again for giving our kids the opportunities to experience real life activities. Thank you.
Being over on the east side of the state, we're frequently forgotten as the metropolitan areas get the limelight. But I'm delighted to tell you that I contacted the Michigan Department of Career Development and talked to John Williams, the director. Some of you know that he participated in an in-service that we put on here 2 or 3 years ago. And John couldn't make it, but he sent his best person. And so at this point in time, pinch hitting for John is Glenna Zollinger Russell. She's the coordinator of the Career Prep Initiative from Glenna.
Good morning. Thank you very much for this opportunity. On behalf of the Governor of the State of Michigan and the Michigan Department of Career Development, which covers a lot of different units within this state, I can only thank you for your efforts. One day does make a difference, as each of these students has told you. Those of us that have lived through this past week, I have 2 sons in the military. So not only do I, one of them initially chose it as a career. It was his driving force, the only reason he graduated high school, because they required a high school graduation. The other did it sort of by the go through college, this isn't for me. Anyhow, this opportunity to be here today, you do make a difference. You make a difference to these students, and as our president said to this whole nation on Sunday, we need to get back to work. We need to show the world that we are the strong nation that we are, and that we will take care of the issues and the challenges that this nation has now been reminded of on a global perspective. We've had a lot of transition in the past week, but again, one of the things that we need to do as a grassroots effort is be able to act on that thought that we've all had this past week. What can I do to help? This is what you can help. You can help these young people, you can help your community, you can help the chamber be stronger, not only for the Port Huron area, but for the state of Michigan. Those of you that deal with the national perspective, Michigan is a leader in this career preparation concept, and putting the economics behind it that the legislature has voted in for another 3-year opportunity is, again, only a few states have gotten this far, but more are coming. We need to make sure that we don't forget that this doesn't start at high school. This starts younger than that. And one of the things that I'm not sure your elementaries have received yet, but hopefully will be soon, is the fact that on a national level, the website jobshadow.org is promoting a what do I want to be when I grow up? And they're promoting the opportunity that on Halloween, they dress as their career of the future. It is the most common asked question of any child. What do you want to be when you grow up? And you indicated this morning about wanting to be a fireman. Firemen and policemen are often some of those first things that kids will respond that they want to be. But again, we have that opportunity as a nation to recognize that how we choose our careers and what we choose as a career is not only a discovery process, but also an opportunity for all of us to begin to support each other in our choices. My son that's presently in Honolulu, Hawaii, he is in satellite communications. His mother never dreamed that he would be listening to the world and the nation bouncing it off of a satellite. And again, that's the technology that he embraces, where I keep saying I'm a 486 in a Pentium world. No one is too young or too old to look at the careers that are options out there. And as we volunteer as a nation to give blood, as we volunteer to help make socks for the dogs that are searching through the World Trade Center rubble, we must realize that everyone there chose a career, and they chose the career because they wanted to do what felt right to them, and they had the passion to do it. I encourage you in your passion. That passion for emergency medical, I encourage you for those passions that you discovered either you liked or you want to move toward, and I encourage all of you as parents and as citizens of this state and this nation to keep building. We are strong and we can be strong. Thank you very much for the opportunity to be here, and thank you.
At your table is a pink sheet. I ask that you pay special attention to that. It has to do with our portfolio day, and you can sign up there. We appreciate your support in regards to that. That's another extremely important part of our total career education program. Also, there's a green attendance sheet. We'd ask that you would sign that, please. Glenna, I think you stole my agenda.
I apologize.
Thank you. We have certificates that we'd like to give to the new businesses, and we normally mention their name and then give them out afterwards as a way of keeping the program going. At this point in time, then, I would like to mention those companies' names. However, keep in mind, while there are only a few new ones, we have well over 160 that have participated over the last 5 years. And so as we search out new job shadowing areas or businesses, the number of new businesses declines, but the number of students participating continues to increase. City of Port Huron Engineering Department, Ford Motor Company Powertrain Operations Engineering Department, Michigan Rehabilitation Services, Michigan Department of Career Development, Carousel of Kids, Fairfield Inn by Marriott, Mitchell Medical Center, Port Huron Cosmetology College, and Tordorf Architects. To those companies, we say thank you for participating. As a way of special recognition, Glenna and Lisa, would you come up, please? Lisa, on behalf of the Port Huron Area School District, and as our parent and co-partner in this School to Work Transition Job Shadowing Program, I'd like to present you with a certificate of recognition. And to Glenna, thank you for coming so far. Glenna had to come in last night in order to be here at 7:30, and we'll be heading back to Lansing. So Glenna, we really appreciate you coming.
Thank you.
We've moved rapidly, and we appreciate your support. There's one thing that I'd like to leave you with, keeping in mind that as the events of the past week that have been so eloquently spoken about caused us to really consider whether we should even have this breakfast, But in the spirit of America, we chose to say, free enterprise and education cannot be defeated because we think it is the strength and the backbone of our nation. I'd like to have you think about this as we come together. No matter what gender you are, no matter what ethnic group you belong to, no matter what racial group we belong to, we are united in 3 colors: red, white, and blue. Thank you for coming.